Have you ever felt something was off about your art, but you couldn't put your finger on what it was? After working with thousands of students, I've seen the same mistakes pop up. The thing is, most artists don't even realize they're making them. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 worst ones that stop you from getting the vision in your head onto the page and exactly how to fix them. The first mistake is one almost every beginner and honestly even some more experienced artists make, and it's probably the biggest reason your finished piece doesn't look the way that you imagined it. So you're zoomed in, making sure that every line is perfect, every stroke is just right because you don't want to make any mistakes in your work. And in a complex piece, it can take hours to add these details everywhere, and it's frankly exhausting because you keep noticing other small details that need to be fixed. But let's look at how the masters at Studio Ghibli of Howl's Moving Castle handle detail. In this scene, we've got a lot going on here, and even at a glance, we get the vibe of this really luscious, very full greenhouse. And yet, even with the insane amount of details in this drawing, if we take a closer look at the flowers here, you'll notice that they're actually just splotches of paint. Every flower is not drawn to perfection. It's just enough shape to kind of give the suggestion of detail. And that is just as effective. And that's where this mistake happens. When you are zoomed in, your brain tells you that every detail matters, and you're not paying attention to whether those details make a difference to the image as a whole. Sometimes when you zoom out, all of that detail practically disappears. You might notice it because you spent so much time laboring over it and loving on it, but nobody else does because your viewer is rarely looking at your art 300 times zoomed in. What matters is how it looks as a whole. Sometimes the suggestion of details is more powerful and it makes the image stronger. But how do you know where to add details and where to ignore them or make them simpler? First, you want to ask yourself, where do you want the attention to be drawn to in your image? Second, make sure that you are zooming out and making sure that the details that you're working on can actually be seen while the piece is small. Don't do this at the end of a piece. Do this constantly while you're working to see, is this detail actually noticeable? Mistake 2 is something that frustrates beginners for years, when the fix can almost be instant. If you've ever struggled to make a smooth, clean line or circle, you're not alone. For many artists, whether they're working with physical paints or digital brushes, it can take years of practice. But there is a technique that can actually make it way easier. Try this. Many people, when trying to draw a straight line, will pivot their hand from their fingertips or their wrist. And this can actually be really difficult, even for experienced artists. Okay, this time I want you to keep your fingertips and your wrist locked in place and instead move from your elbow so that your arm is all in one long line. Notice how much smoother that motion is? The joints in our elbow do not allow us the same kind of crazy flexibility that our fingertips and wrists do. And this makes it much easier to draw a smooth straight line because it only wants to go in one direction. This works even better if you are able to lock your elbow and instead draw from your shoulder. But I've found this to be a little tricky when I'm sitting on the couch drawing on my iPad. Now, some of you are going to say, hey, that's not my problem. My problem is that my fingers tremble or I have a tremor. This doesn't work for me. Valid points. For you digital artists, here's another tip for you. In Procreate, go to the wrench icon, the Preference tab, and tap on the Pressure and Smoothing option. From here, you can play with the stabilization and motion filtering settings. These are designed to literally smooth out your lines. Crank them up, give your brushes a try, and find the best settings for yourself. Mistake 3 is a sneaky one because on the surface, it seems like you're doing everything right, but it's quietly pulling your art in the wrong direction. You find a reference you love and you start drawing. And almost immediately, your brain switches into a mode where the only goal is to get it exactly right. Every petal, every fold of fabric, every little detail, you want it perfectly matched to the photo. And when it doesn't match, which it never does, you feel like, you suck at this. Like, you're not good enough. But here's the thing. Is your goal to make hyper-realistic art? Most people want to draw with some style, with something that's a little fun and quirky, something that looks unique to them, something that is in their own style. But somewhere between that point when you start trying to draw that reference and finish the drawing, that goal somehow disappears. Instead, you're in photocopier mode. See the difference? In this piece by my student Julie Ward, the stylized version isn't more accurate. Julie made decisions about what to keep and what to let go, and that's exactly what you should be doing with your references. First, ask yourself, what is the most unique or interesting part of this subject? That is the part that you are going to exaggerate. Everything else you're going to simplify or let go of entirely. Second, make sure that you're focusing on the big shapes first, and then you can focus on the details. Your job as an illustrator isn't to record reality, it's to interpret it and make it something more interesting. If we wanted it to look exactly like the photo, we'd have just taken a photo. Mistake 4 is one that'll make you question everything you've been spending your time on. You hear that Procreate is this incredible drawing tool that makes creating great art a breeze. And it's true. Procreate was literally a game changer for me. So you spend time learning it and doing tutorials, and then when you sit down to make something, you think, I don't know what to do. Why is this still so hard? Here's the thing. Artists who can make incredible art with Procreate, if they didn't have Procreate, they'd be able to make great art with a pen and a Post-it note. The medium or tool isn't what makes the art good. It's what you, the artist, do with that tool. These are two completely different skill sets, and you need both. The artists who improve fastest treat them as two separate things to learn. Learn how to use your medium or the tool, and then learn the art skills. So in my program, we start with Procreate so that you're comfortable with the tool, and then we focus entirely on the fundamentals that make your art good. Because it's really difficult to focus on the art fundamentals when you don't actually know how to use the tool, but you need both skills. Mistake 5 is one that hits hardest when you're trying to practice those fundamentals, and it's the reason so many beginners give up halfway through. Have you ever hidden the hands of a character behind their back or in their pockets because drawing hands feels too intimidating? Or maybe you get excited about drawing something that you've never done before, like a horse, but then you give up halfway through because it just feels too hard. So you end up stuck drawing the same things that you feel comfortable with over and over because things feel too hard, but you know that you need to get outside of your comfort zone to grow. It feels so overwhelming and frustrating that it feels like a chore to even open up your iPad. Well, when someone is learning how to bowl, we often use bumpers to prevent your ball from going in the gutter. And when you're learning to bike, kids often use training wheels to make it easier. In drawing, you can do the same thing. There's some specific tools and techniques that we can use to make learning a new scary or intimidating skill simpler. One of my favorite training wheels that I use for my students is to have you draw from an illustration reference before drawing from a photo reference. Here's how this makes drawing 1,000 times easier. A photo of a horse has an insane amount of detail. Look at all the muscle in the neck and the hind legs. It's overwhelming. But now look at this illustration of a horse that shows how someone else has reduced all of that information down into the most important details. They didn't bother portraying any neck muscles. This is way easier to practice drawing a horse. Practice the skill of recreating the shapes and lines that the horse is made of. But how to really level it up is once you've actually had some experience drawing a horse from an easier source, now with your new experience, it's going to be easier to look at a photo reference and actually choose which details you think would be interesting to include or not. For example, in this camel drawing, I've reduced the legs down to simple sticks instead of including every bend and joint in the legs, like the previous artist did for the horses. Drawing from an illustration is just one of the training wheels I like to use with students. Every exercise in my program is tailored for students so that the difficulty scales as you go through each lesson and level, with the goal of making drawing feeling less intimidating and keeping you excited to try new things and gently push outside your comfort zone. Mistake 6 seems completely harmless. You finish a piece of artwork and you hate it, so you delete it or throw it away. And it feels harmless. Why keep something bad? Sometimes it feels really satisfying to destroy something that's making you feel bad. But this actually can actively be bad for you. There is a reason that exercise programs make you take a before photo. The changes that happen are so subtle that you can't see them in real time. It's only when you look back at a photo from a year ago or 6 months ago that you realize how far you've come in that exercise program. Art works in exactly the same way. See, what happens is that as you improve, your standards raise as your skills do. So the better you get, the more critical you become, and you totally forget that 6 months ago, you couldn't do half of what you can do now. So when you have something that you hate, save it. Hide it away in a folder that you never look at so that it doesn't haunt you. But looking back at your old work is one of the best ways to motivate yourself when you're feeling down about your latest work. Now, do you ever feel that your imagination is stronger than your drawing skills? Then check out this video where I show the secret techniques to transform your imagination into real drawings so you can break free from copying tutorials and start creating art in your own unique style.